It's Fraser and Jack here, the day after Clash at the Castle. What a fun night, a sad night for some, a little bit gutted in some aspects, but it was a pretty fun event overall. What do you think?
I think it was a fun event overall, but it was one of the most crazy booking decisions I've ever seen play out live in real time.
Yeah.
And as a lovely lad from Liverpool said to me last night, not Owen, but a different lovely lad from Liverpool. I saw the panic on his face there. He said to me he'd been to both clashes. Clash at the Castle last year he said was heartbreaking, but this one he said was moody. That was moody. And the atmosphere was a bit moody at the end, wasn't it? Because obviously Drew McIntyre got screwed.
Drew McIntyre screwed. If you want to see what other people thought of that, though, there was a whole video that Jack's done outside Clash in the Castle that is on the channel right now. It is chaos personified. And another person that was chaos personified, though, was CM Punk. And he was at the press conference after the entire show. It was a surprise appearance. We were sat there, myself and Pierce. And then CM Punk walks up. He sits down, and we got the chance to ask him a question. So, of course, we wanted to know what his injury status currently was. And thankfully, he gave us quite a nice response. He said, "I've been cleared only for referee duty. I've had a little bit of hiccup out there, so we'll get back to the lab and reassess. I can tell you that my arm feels amazing. I got permission to skip Raw in Corpus Christi, that is on Monday, to go home to Chicago to see my doctors with the idea that I'm going to be cleared. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but throughout my career, my saying stuff has, he's been a rebel.
He's built a career off saying stuff he's not supposed to say.
Exactly. Yeah. Why stop now? He says, I think SmackDown's in Chicago next week. I'm a Raw guy, but I'm going to skip Raw. I'm going to get cleared, and then I'm going to hopefully show up to SmackDown and let everybody know the good news. Hopefully.
Very interesting indeed. I think the little thing, I think him saying I had a little hiccup out there, we've kind of interpreted that as him joking because he couldn't count the three when he was...
Shoulder was sore.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it.
I'm just really jealous that you got to meet Phil.
Got to meet Phil. Got to have a nice question with CM Punk. He looked directly at the camera.
You were inside with Phil. I was outside with the locals.
It was great. We both had a great evening.
Equally good evenings. Do check out that video. There's a special guest appearance as well from a face from the Cultaholics past, and she had a great time.
She did have a great
time. Kind of spot who it is by saying that.
It could be anyone. It could be anyone.
Yeah.
Sticking with the post-show press conference, we had Triple H, of course, there. He was touting the impressive gate. It's the highest gate ever for an arena show for WWE. It smashed the record set by Backlash France just 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Essentially means they made a lot of money. He didn't quite give the details of just how much, but it's the most ever. Which is wild. But he also addressed CM Punk and discussed CM Punk's injury, his appearance, and how it feels to have CM Punk back in the company. He says there is a change and there is a new era, a new atmosphere. All those things. Absolutely, in some ways, there are things he was asking for and started a long time ago. At a time that maybe I and him, for a lot of reasons, just saw things differently from each other. We saw eye to eye, but it was an angry eye to eye, opposition eye to eye.
Literally makes no sense, Triple H, but thank you. He also said, no, I'm joking. He also says, I cannot tell you how happy I am to have him back. I cannot tell you how exciting it is for me to see Phil Brooks, the Phil Brooks that I wanted to see then. While maybe my efforts to get that were taken wrong, and it's what led to friction, I always knew that the Phil Brooks that I see today was inside there. Just couldn't express it in the right way. As much as this has changed, he has changed. I've got to tell you, it's amazing, and I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited not just to work with him, but to be around him. He's a pleasure to be around in the locker room. He's a pleasure to be around as a performer. He's a pleasure to be around helping other guys to grow, to change, to impart what he has learned, not only as a performer, but also as a person that was on the wrong side of things, but maybe figured it out along the way. That is valuable information that he can share with another generation that's coming behind him. I'm thrilled and excited to have him here, and I'm thrilled and excited to not only work with him in a talent role, but work with him to create the WWE that both he and I always wanted it to be.
A very wholesome comment from Triple H.
Yeah, but I think some subliminal shots fired there. He's such a pleasure to be around in the locker room.
He's passing all that knowledge on to everyone that wants it.
And from everything we've seen, it does seem like CM Punk has been a pleasure to be around in the WWE locker room. But I think the fact that Triple H has rammed that home so much could perhaps be just a little errant shot somewhere else.
There was more than just that, because CM Punk, when he appeared on the press conference, he came in with donuts, which got a little bit of a laugh. He came in with some baked goods, sat down, started eating them by picking them apart with his fingers, and then Triple H made reference later on.
Do that?
It was a little bit weird. I was like, just eat it normally, Phil.
Take a big bite, Phil.
Yeah, take a bite, man. Triple H made reference to this. He was like, CM Punk, something's going on with his head. He's eating a lot of sugar these days. Him and, baked goods, donuts, muffins, not a good mix. It got a little bit of a laugh there. a little bit of a shot at AEW's press conference, of course.
Yes, and also, because in this instance, I guess him eating the donuts meant that he went off the rails and acted as the referee when he wasn't. And they showed that little video, didn't they, of him commandeering a referee shirt backstage.
I thought that was really good to see like an insight of him running to get that referee shirt and being like, oh my God, this is my chance.
I remember they did it with Becky Lynch once, not for a big pay-per-view match or anything, but she was saving someone from a beatdown, and she was like eating, and then she looked at the screen and went, oh, and then ran past Gorilla, and she went, help my music, and that's why, not in a Scottish accent, and that's why her music played, whereas Punk, obviously, his music didn't play. A lot of people were upset the Cult of Personality didn't play.
Right, we didn't get to hear it, but I think the reveal was very, very well done.
Yeah.
But we did see throughout the night there was a little bit of a static interference in the arena. A sound played during one of the matches. I think it was Bayley versus Piper Niven. And of course, to the audience at home, that was the QR code for the Wyatt family, the Howdy faction, the Bray Wyatt inspired faction. But we've had an update from Fightful, who says that obviously they are expected to appear on Raw this week. And as per the report, the group has been in the works for a while, with WWE believing that the group will connect with current WWE, with one talking point being with how difficult The Fiend and all the Wyatt programming was to translate to a WWE audience in a modern setting. It also notes that it's not expected to be a spooky gimmick. It's not meant to be a spookums.
Yeah, it says there doesn't seem to be any supernatural elements involved with the gimmick via their presentation. However, Fightful's report says that also it's been noted that a lot of the visual elements of the group are being kept close to the chest of WWE. So I think there could be some kind of supernatural elements in terms of entrances, special effects, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of their, I guess, like kayfabe powers, that's what I took from that. And while it's something I'm kind of surprised about, because obviously when he was the Fiend, Bray Wyatt did have supernatural elements. He was kind of invulnerable. In this instance, I think maybe with Triple H's current product and everything, I think maybe I'm quite relieved about it as well.
Yeah, and it means that it's all grounded a little bit more in reality, so it makes it that bit more believable, a little bit more fun to buy into now. I don't know why that as WWE's entered this era, the spooky stuff just doesn't land as well. But either way, it's quite exciting. Hopefully we'll find more out tomorrow night on Raw. It's come around fairly soon, but it seems like this gets booted down the road every now and again. But moving over to AEW Collision was of course last night, and we've got a new name added to the TNT Championship Ladder Match at Forbidden Door. That name being Dante Martin, who beat Lee Moriarty.
That woman just glared at me.
We did get a glare. The people make Glasgow. The people make Glasgow.
So I held her gaze, and she didn't break it, and I was like,
wow, you had a moment there on the news.
I had to look away first. She won. But yeah, AEW...
Dante Martin also won last night.
He did, yeah.
But he will be joining Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry and Takeshita in that championship ladder match at Forbidden Door. I think Jack Perry's winning.
I was going to say, who do you think's winning that one? But fair enough. Jack Perry seems like the ideal candidate. He's got the most storyline momentum at the minute. He's got the most to gain by winning it in terms of... it gives him more fuel as a heel, and saying like, I am the rightful face of TNT and I should have been all along and all that sort of stuff.
And the Bucks tried to give him the belt, just handed him the belt.
I also think though, if you give it to a babyface, like thwarting Jack Perry towards the end of the match, perhaps that gives him a feud to move into, and it gives that babyface a boost. It could be someone like Dante Martin. I also think that someone who needs it but won't necessarily win it is Takeshita. He's started to slip down the pecking order. It feels like a little bit, despite having only impressed in what he's been asked to do.
And he's only getting better. He is only getting better. But he would be a great choice, feeling Jack Perry. But also, it's just been announced this morning there is a massive dream match. That's a crossover match announced from WWE and Noah.
Yeah, AJ Styles is going to be taking on Naomichi Marufuji, who's a bit of a Japanese wrestling legend by this stage of his career. And stylistically, I think this is a very exciting matchup indeed. AJ Styles is known for his high flying, certainly in his past and that, but also his strikes and stuff as well. Takeshita, Marufuji, excuse me. They're both Japanese wrestlers.
They are.
Marufuji, kind of was a bit of a pioneer of that style as well. He loves his kicks, he loves his strikes. He can still take to the skies even though he's getting on a bit as well. He's still a marvellous wrestler at his age, and I think that not only will it be hopefully a very, very good match indeed, but also I reckon it's the sort of match that AJ Styles will really love to have. I know Ospreay wrestled Marufuji late last year while he was wrapping up his Japan run, and just I think was buzzing about it was little squirrels.
Oh, another little squirrel's back.
Yeah. Oh, it's big.
Oh my god, it's a monster.
So yeah, I think it's the sort of match that maybe Styles will be really motivated to have as well. And
I think so.
It's interesting though, the wider ramifications as well. WWE and Noah.
Well, I spoke to AJ Styles at the media junket just the other day. The interview is on the channel just now, and he was very excited at the idea of doing crossovers. We kind of asked about TNA, but we didn't even fathom the fact that he could go over to Japan and work for Noah, and he was very excited about the prospect of him getting involved in those crossovers. So it was only a matter of days, and one has been announced. But going back to Clash at the Castle last night, of course, there was that spot in the main event where Damian Priest tried to hit a step-up tope con hilo over the top rope, but then got caught in the ropes. And it looked pretty nasty. We were kind of speculating, going, is it a proper injury? Because he was really favouring that leg throughout it. He did address that at the press conference after the show. He directly said that his ankle feels like trash, but he had not been to medical at that point. He says he wanted to come and speak to the media instead. He wasn't concerned too much about it, but he is going to get it checked out by doctors. But he doesn't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. You
mentioned to me last night that Triple H apparently made some sort of reference like, I think he could be running on adrenaline. We want to make sure that he is actually fine.
Yes, so obviously him saying he hadn't been to the doctors yet and the medical. When CM Punk came out, Punk made a comment as well. He went, Damian Priest, we never want anyone to get injured. But it did look like Damian Priest might have torn his hamstring. It looked like it to me. Then Triple H came out. He went, I want to make sure Damian Priest, as you said, isn't just running on that adrenaline. Make sure that he's in fit condition to compete and go forward. But he was like, I trust Damian Priest. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, it looks as though we're just going to have to wait for further details on Damian Priest's injury and what it means for his World Heavyweight Championship reign as well. It's the sort of thing where watching it, we couldn't work out how much of it was real, how much of it was selling, or whether it was a combination of both. It could always be...
He's very good, so he could be selling.
And we were saying, like, God, he's remembering to keep going to the leg, but then we couldn't work out, well, if it's always in pain, you're going to remember
to go to it.
So it could be one of those things. I also point out that Drew, I think, did a really good job with having to find out a reason to voluntarily free Priest's leg.
Yeah.
Saying, like, well, I can't win the belt by DQ or count out or whatever, so I've got to pin him.
He's got to get him out of the ropes.
Excuse me. Also, I think if Priest is hurt, I know that in the modern age, it's more accepted by wrestlers for other wrestlers to just stop a match because of injury. It's not that kind of toxic old school mentality of you've got to gut it out, kid, and all that sort of stuff. But if he was hurt and he did carry on the match and felt well enough to, some of those moves he was pulling off, especially the Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
Fair play to him. That was very impressive indeed. And
Drew's a big boy.
Drew's a massive boy.
He is big.
Hopefully Priest's okay.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, absolutely. I want to also mention, do you see what happened after it went off air?
I didn't.
So
I was away in the press conference.
Yes, we know. And I was outside.
Pepsi filler question.
And I was outside with the Glaswegian.
Yeah. What happened after
which was lovely. Basically, Drew McIntyre's on the ramp, grabbing referees, going wild, going like, "Where the F is CM Punk?" Barrett comes over to calm him down.
Yeah.
And I think in the sort of frantic conversation between them, which you can find on social media, you hear McIntyre go, "No, they don't understand. The Americans don't understand."
Barrett has called on CM Punk to get fired or suspended, so there's a whole thing there.
He's Drew's friend.
He's Drew's mate, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, that is all we've got for you just now. It is starting to get a little bit soggy here in Glasgow, unfortunately, so we're going to wrap things up, get inside, get warm, and get back to Newcastle. Check out all the content on the channel. We've got interviews, we've got what happened at, we've got WTF moments, we've got all the good stuff. And we'll be back with more wrestling news later on. Jack.
And shout out to Owen and Pierce as well as part of the team.
Thank you much.
It's not just been me and
Thanks,
Fraser.
Owen. You've been a great trooper.
There's been a lot. Owen just blew a kiss behind the camera. Pierce is back at the hotel getting the thumbnail ready for this. It's been a real team effort.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody involved. Thanks for everyone who came and said hi to us as well over the weekend too.
Thank you so much.